Susan Boyle's extraordinary journey to fame began with a breathtaking audition on Britain's Got Talent, where her powerful voice captivated audiences around the world. Her performance brought her not only widespread recognition but also paved the way for her victory on America's Got Talent, The Champions. Over time, she accumulated a fortune of over $45 million. Despite these remarkable accomplishments, Susan made the unexpected decision to step out of the spotlight, choosing a life of quiet privacy. Her sudden withdrawal sparked widespread curiosity about what led to her retreat from fame. To understand her choice, we must explore the compelling and deeply personal reasons behind it. Susan Boyle stands as a compelling example of why we should never judge others based on appearances. Born on April 1, 1961, in Blackburn, Scotland, she was the youngest of 11 children in a humble household in West Lothian. Her father, Patrick Boyle, worked as a miner and loved singing, while her mother, Bridget Boyle, was a shorthand typist. Remarkably, Susan continues to live in the same home where she grew up. Her childhood was filled with challenges, she struggled academically and often felt alone. Yet music offered her refuge. She found joy in singing, participating in the church choir, and entering local talent shows. Encouraged by her mother, who recognized her passion for music, Susan eventually decided to audition for Britain's Got Talent. She had hesitated, especially because the show launched in 2004 when she was already older than most contestants. After her mother's death in 2007, Susan found the courage to audition in Glasgow in 2008. Her performance of I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables stunned both the audience and the judges, earning a standing ovation and transforming her life overnight. Her deeply moving performance broke through superficial judgments about her looks and background, earning praise from celebrities such as Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher. The audition became one of the most watched videos on YouTube at the time and established her as a global sensation. Although Susan didn't win Britain's Got Talent, finishing as runner-up, her career took off. She toured with other finalists and began working on her debut album. When it was released in November 2009, it broke records as the fastest-selling debut album by a female artist worldwide, selling more than 2 million copies in its first week. Susan's rise was far from smooth. Born into a large family, she suffered oxygen deprivation at birth, resulting in learning disabilities that impacted her development and education. School life was especially difficult. She was bullied relentlessly by classmates and teachers alike. Nicknamed Susie Simple, she endured constant ridicule that damaged her self-esteem. Her Britain's Got Talent performance wasn't just a career milestone, it was her moment to prove the doubters wrong. Her song You'll See became a symbol of her strength and determination. In 2011, Susan opened up about her struggles with epilepsy and a previously undiagnosed learning disorder. Although her medical conditions were eventually acknowledged, she often lacked proper support. Misunderstandings about her epilepsy and inadequate care made her school experience even more difficult. She was frequently mocked for her seizures, and her family's responses ranged from excessive protectiveness to neglect. Her father, for instance, dismissed her as touchy, leaving her feeling unsupported. Tragically, many believed her seizures were part of her learning difficulties, preventing her from receiving the care she needed. These hardships limited her education and career opportunities. Though she briefly trained as a cook and enrolled in various government programs, she struggled to find lasting work. In spite of all these obstacles, Susan found comfort and expression through singing in local venues, a passion that ultimately carried her to global stardom. Susan Boyle's only outlet for her musical dreams, having been raised with values of forgiveness and humility, was through singing. She lived a humble life and famously shared during her Britain's Got Talent audition that she had never been kissed. After her father's passing, Susan remained at home to care for her elderly mother while her siblings moved away. During this period, her cat Pebbles became her sole companion. Even after gaining fame and fortune, she chose to stay in her childhood home, holding on to the simplicity of her earlier years. When her mother died, Susan withdrew from society for several days, overwhelmed by grief and uncertain about her future. Despite these personal struggles, she continued to live quietly and devoutly. As a dedicated Roman Catholic, she sang in her church choir and regularly visited elderly people in her community. Before becoming famous, Susan described her life as routine and uneventful. In a 2010 interview on The Oprah Winfrey Show and a 2013 BBC interview, she disclosed that she had been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, offering deeper insight into her complex personal journey. Susan's story reflects immense strength, bravery, and the power of self-belief. In a November 2012 interview, she joked about the unpredictable nature of online dating. By mid-2013, she publicly backed the Better Together campaign in opposition to Scottish independence, expressing pride in her heritage but emphasizing her belief in unity over nationalism. She also leads a sober life and has been managing type 2 diabetes since her diagnosis in June 2013. Her journey, marked by perseverance and hope, shows her ability to face both personal and medical challenges with resilience. As one chapter of her life closed, more serious challenges emerged. In November 2014, it was revealed that Susan had entered a romantic relationship with a man she described as her first boyfriend, news that surprised many of her fans due to their similar ages. In 2022, she suffered a minor stroke and later spoke openly about the experience in June 2023 following a performance on Britain's Got Talent. This performance reignited public interest in her continued choice to live in her childhood home, despite her global fame. Susan's transformation is remarkable. From a modest background and often underestimated for her appearance and quiet demeanor, she stunned audiences with her vocal talent during her Britain's Got Talent audition. Her performance quickly went viral, gathering over 100 million views in just a week, and even an earlier recording of Cry Me a River from 1999 found renewed popularity. However, her biggest challenge was not public perception but her own health and well-being. Throughout the talent competition, Susan battled illness and exhaustion but never gave up. Though she finished second to the dance group Diversity, her greatest success was having the courage to perform. Her heartfelt singing and personal strength moved countless people, prompting even decision-makers to rethink the importance of chasing dreams at any stage in life. Her debut album, I Dreamed a Dream, released in November 2009, became a record-breaking success. It was one of the fastest-selling debut albums by a female artist, with over 2 million copies sold globally in its first week. In the UK, it became the most pre-ordered album ever on Amazon and was later named the world's top-selling album of that year, as Billboard noted its historic first-week sales. Susan achieved a milestone not seen since the early 1990s, yet this was far from the height of her accomplishments. After her debut, she earned multiple Guinness World Records, including the fastest-selling debut album by a female artist and the highest first-week sales. Remarkably, she also became the oldest person to debut at #1 on the UK album chart. Her powerful voice and touching personal journey resonated strongly with American audiences, gaining her widespread affection on platforms such as America's Got Talent. The days of being underestimated were over, and Susan fully stepped into her newfound success, shaping her own story and relishing every part of her achievement. Building on the triumph of I Dreamed a Dream, Susan went on to release several more albums: The Gift in 2010, Someone to Watch Over Me in 2011, Standing Ovation, The Greatest Songs from the Stage in 2012, Hope in 2014, and A Wonderful World in 2016. Despite her fame, she stayed true to her humble beginnings, choosing to remain in her childhood home. Though she could have lived anywhere, she preferred to stay rooted in the simplicity and familiarity of her early life, a reflection of her values and deep connection to her origins. Her musical journey took a turn when Susan chose to take a break from the spotlight. Confronted with the realities of aging and ongoing health issues, she recognized the need to put her well-being above her career. This decision led to speculation about whether she had retired for good. However, in 2019, she made a heartening comeback with a new album titled 10, marking 10 years of her remarkable contributions to music. The album featured some of her most iconic songs and reaffirmed her lasting presence in the industry. Still, her return was tinged with a quiet sadness. Longtime fans sensed a change in her energy, which many attributed to her health challenges. Though she retained immense talent and experience, Susan chose to withdraw from public life in pursuit of greater peace. Her retreat was not merely an attempt to escape fame, it reflected something deeper and more personal. She once shared how much joy creating music brought her, hoping it would connect meaningfully with listeners. For those who thought they knew her full story, a closer look at her personal battles and resilience could profoundly shift their perspective. Susan's rise to fame began with her unforgettable appearance on Britain's Got Talent, captivating global audiences. However, the aftermath of her sudden stardom brought intense challenges. She faced a demanding schedule filled with rehearsals, relentless media attention, and pressure to maintain a flawless image, which began to take a toll on her well-being. Though she was widely loved, falling short of winning the competition and enduring ongoing criticism proved difficult. Her hardest moments came after the show ended, when her health declined so severely that she required immediate hospitalization. Reports revealed she had suffered a major emotional and physical breakdown. The overwhelming stress of the show and the lack of support during the critical final phase left her vulnerable. One incident even involved a conflict with a staff member, illustrating the level of pressure she was under. That same evening, her team grew concerned by her behavior at her London residence and contacted authorities, leading to her admission to a mental health care facility. News of Susan Boyle's breakdown quickly captured public attention, sparking debate over whether reality TV shows like Britain's Got Talent prioritized viewership over the well-being of their contestants. It came to light that the production team had overlooked her mental and physical health in the lead-up to the finale. Though no formal investigation by Ofcom was launched, the experience became a pivotal lesson for Susan, emphasizing the importance of caring for her health alongside her rising career. Just when it seemed the public had fully grasped her story, a surprising revelation shed new light on her resilience. In 2013, Susan was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism spectrum disorder. For years, she had been wrongly believed to have brain damage due to complications at birth. This diagnosis brought a mix of relief and sorrow, relief from finally understanding the true source of her lifelong difficulties, and sadness for the many years she lived under a false label. The news reshaped how Susan viewed her past and helped her begin a journey toward better support and self-understanding. Looking back on her school days, Susan remembered always feeling out of place, struggling both socially and academically, which left her with deep feelings of isolation. The official diagnosis gave her clarity, offering a framework to understand her experiences and easing the sense of personal failure. In a moving interview with The Guardian, she spoke candidly about the emotional pain caused by the misdiagnosis and expressed hope that sharing her story would encourage compassion for those with neurological differences. Yet her challenges didn't end there. That same year, Susan was also diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, which required major lifestyle changes, including giving up her cherished chocolate. Managing the condition was especially difficult as she was still adjusting to her new understanding of her autism diagnosis. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic, which added another layer of difficulty. For more than 2 years, Susan had to isolate for health reasons, halting her music career and stalling collaborations and new projects, significantly delaying her professional progress. At the same time, her personal life was fraught with hardship. In 2010, after buying a new home with her earnings, Susan became the target of local vandals who damaged her property. Feeling unsafe, she moved back into her childhood home and later gave the new house to her niece. During this emotionally taxing period, she also lost her sister Bridie, a constant source of support, to cancer at the age of 73, deepening her grief and sense of responsibility. Family tensions also flared. After Susan helped her brother Jerry financially to save his business, other siblings felt neglected. The strain worsened when Jerry publicly accused Susan of fabricating claims about his suicidal thoughts, further damaging their relationship. But in 2016, after a very public emotional incident at Heathrow Airport, a turning point arrived. The event unexpectedly brought her and her siblings back together, allowing for reconciliation and healing. Despite suffering a minor stroke in May 2022, which made performing more difficult, Susan made a courageous return to the stage with the West End cast of Les Miserables. She spoke openly about her health and the challenges she faced, showing unwavering dedication to her music. Today, she continues to pursue her passion, though she now chooses a more private life. She has expressed regret about never having children, but she finds joy in a discreet relationship with an American partner who remains a steady source of support during life's major moments. Through every struggle and every triumph, Susan Boyle endures with remarkable strength and spirit. Susan Boyle displays extraordinary resilience. Her story goes beyond her musical achievements, shining a light on her unwavering strength and dedication to her principles despite the many challenges life has thrown her way. Her journey is a powerful testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. Simon Cowell offered his thoughts on Susan and the unique charm she naturally radiates. He spoke about her unexpected rise to fame, noting how she stood apart from others who achieved celebrity status without much genuine talent. He remarked that in the entertainment world, many are recognized more for their image than for any real ability. Susan, however, didn't pursue fame, she simply wished to share her voice with the world. Simon vividly remembers her first audition. It had been a tiring day filled with performances that failed to leave a strong impression. Feeling worn out and skeptical, Simon didn't anticipate anything remarkable from the next contestant. When Susan appeared on stage, her awkward demeanor led him to believe she might be yet another forgettable act. The audience seemed indifferent as well, and Simon prepared for what he assumed would be a dull performance. But the moment Susan began to sing, everything shifted. Her voice was rich, pure, and instantly captivating. Simon's initial skepticism quickly turned into awe. It was a striking reminder that exceptional talent can emerge from the most unlikely places. That audition moment didn't just make waves in the studio, it resonated worldwide. When it aired, it became a viral sensation. Simon, who was in Los Angeles at the time, saw Susan's performance on nearly every TV channel. The world was abuzz with her name. From a modest Scottish village, she was suddenly propelled into global stardom. People everywhere were moved by both her voice and her story. As Simon reflected on the whirlwind of her sudden fame, he recalled how deeply it impacted her. Reports surfaced about her difficulty adjusting to this new life, including a moment in New York when she seemed overwhelmed. Still, Simon didn't view these moments as breakdowns. Instead, he saw them as signs that Susan was beginning to grasp the depth of affection people had for her, particularly in the United States. One touching example was when fans made her a quilt, a heartfelt gesture that showed how deeply her audience had connected with her. Despite the pressures of overnight fame, Susan handled her journey with remarkable poise. Her story highlighted not only the raw power of genuine talent but also the profound personal transformation that fame can bring. Simon expressed deep respect for the way her career evolved, noting that no one could have foreseen the profound impact she would have on the music world and on countless individuals around the globe. Still, Susan's story isn't just about a surprising audition or meteoric fame. Simon emphasized that her journey is rooted in her authenticity and inner strength. Transitioning from a quiet, private life to international recognition demonstrated her resilience and the universal appeal of sincerity and talent. Her ongoing story continues to remind us of how deeply music can touch lives and how it can completely transform a person's path. What are your thoughts? Was Susan's sudden rise to stardom more of a help or a challenge to her personal well-being? Share your opinions in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for more thoughtful conversations like this one.